Today, I will recap the movie Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw. The man named Brixton is a top-secret agent, but a terrorist group took advantage of him and helped him turn into a super warrior. Most of his body's organs are replaced by mechanics. This makes him an extremely good fighter and can be said to be nearly immortal. This terrorist organization is very powerful and wealthy, no doubt. And the goal of this terrorist group is huge. They want to transform mankind. Recently, they have created a dangerous virus. After releasing it, the virus will find human weaknesses and destroy them. In London, England, Hattie and her MI6 agent group try to steal this virus. On duty, she encountered a black man, Brixton. He announced that he was the henchman of the terrorist organization. He did not say much more and attacked directly. The MI6 agents could not withstand a few attacks from the man. In less than 30 seconds, they were crawling on the floor. Hattie immediately pulled out a gun and shot at him, but Brixton leisurely put his hand up to block the bullets. Despite being a bit shocked, Hattie still escaped successfully. She was at the location of the CP17 virus, but could not take it normally. She sacrificed herself to inject the virus into her own body. Very quickly, the toxic drama that could destroy the world crept into Hattie's blood. Brixton arrived at the place where the virus was lifted. He announced to his 500 brothers to follow the girl to get it back. Outside, Hattie had escaped quite far. But at the same time, agents Hobbs and Shaw were living very leisurely. Hobbs still tried to take care of his massive muscles, and Shaw went to have coffee in a waiting cage. The two received calls about the missing virus. Then the street lights up. The two brothers are on the case. Shaw goes to a disco with many hot girls. Hobbs goes to a car shop. The common point of these two guys is to investigate the CP17 virus. But they encounter stubbornness. So Shaw goes to see how hard they are. On this side, he did not beat anyone. He only tapes and collects to bother the staff. He loves the police so much. The next day, when Hobbs went to breakfast with his daughter, an old friend from the CIA brought a record file on Hattie. The agent betrayed his teammates and stole the CP17 virus, also known as Snowflake. But they have a question. She is a weak girl. How can she stab the teammates and escape? And the special thing here is that the man who created the virus has disappeared without a trace. If this thing spreads, humans will be in danger. Although he did not want to, Hobbs accepted the responsibility and worked for the CIA. But on this side, Shaw is also visited by the CIA. This person brought a picture of his sister, Hattie, to Shaw, because she was the person who had escaped after the theft of the virus. It is a biological weapon that creates perishable germs. It is transferred through the air. The virus will attack the DNA strand. It will make a person turn into a puddle within 72 hours. Shaw also had to accept the mission to save his sister. It is true that the path is narrow. At the base, Hobbs and Shaw face each other. Both are not friendly with each other. As soon as they met, they asked for a fight. The CIA said the two should reconcile to search for the virus. Hobbs and Shaw took their chairs. On this side, Shaw's younger sister entered the door. As soon as anyone accidentally logs out, they are kicked out immediately. After a coffee, they visited his sister's apartment. How could this child cheat that he could overtake him? But unexpectedly, he was hit by the terrorists. They are weak and set the wind. They do not know the famous Shaw. They held a gun pointed at his face. Then they will determine the tone immediately. While his younger sister was escaping, Hobbs was captured. She took out her hand and poked the danger. But the girl's strength was impressive. It is like the nose of an electric pole. Looking at the way he poked the girl mostly with one hand, no wonder that he had been scratching young people. After a brief struggle, he took the female agent to the base. However, she did not give much explanation. Just said, "I don't know anything," although she has no criminal record. At this moment, Hobbs got his daughter's call. He asked a young man to look after Hattie, and Hobbs went out to sell cucumbers with his daughter. Inside, the agent is still young and green. Hattie should be pounding on the field, but he stood outside innocently with countless sins. And Hattie jumped and clamped her head into a damaged oven. Shaw suddenly appeared and said, "That's my sister, Hattie." When Hobbs knew Hattie was Shaw's sister, he stopped for about 2 seconds. Right here, Hattie has to publicize herself as the virus carrier, because it was in the lotus tablets in her blood. When the sister is about to leave, a horrible earthquake explosion caused the crowd of people to fall. A crowd of people in armor carrying hot rods frantically discharged bullets. The two brothers raced to escape and left her younger sister lying motionless. She was carried by Brixton and he jumped down to leave. Two young men attacked the melon vegetables and chased, one or two sliding the rope. Hobbs was tricked by him to jump down. Then he passed next to the elevator chasing Brixton, while Shaw fought to resolve some shrimp soldiers. Shaw climbed up and offered to encourage the loincloth. From a height of hundreds of meters, Hobbs with his muscular body rushed down, punctured the glass. The two fell down onto a car below. As a result, Hattie on the roof has the opportunity to play cards. When both of them destroy their cars, he tried to punch this guy a lesson. But unexpectedly, the person who punched him was teased. It turned out that Brixton was able to see through all his moves. So Hobbs is now not his opponent. Fortunately, he normally carried a gun and shot Brixton until he became a hedgehog. But this guy is not afraid of copper candy eaten in the body. Then the two realized each other's avatar. Brixton used to be his former teammate. But then the two became enemies, sworn to be busy. When Shaw was shouted at by him, Hobbs returned to see that he was beaten in the face. Seeing this guy difficult to play, Hobbs threw a grenade towards Brixton. The explosion of the car stopped Brixton's foot. After that, all three sat in his car to run away. Brixton, eating bullets, is not afraid. What about a grenade? He supported his sharp horse and his juniors, urging juniors to chase and get the virus. These steering wheel silks are professional racers. They always have a way to wriggle through the alley. These streets want to make it difficult for Shaw. Hobbs grabbed a long-term brother. Seeing the front, there were two public cars blocking the way. Does it make it difficult for Shaw? He drove the supercar through the narrow slot between two public cars. Brixton also followed immediately, but the speed that saw this scene must be called a tool. Shaw saw the intersection ahead. He suddenly turned his head back to block Brixton. Brixton could not react and drove straight into the bus. Brixton was extremely better when he lost Shaw's mark. Because he wanted to eat that with them, Brixton used the organization's control. With global media, he accused them of being famous thieves and got them wanted by the country. The person who can help his sister Hattie take the virus from her body now is the father of Professor Andresco. The crowd determined his position, so Shaw went as a genuine newspaper. Professor Dintree swallowed his head into his huge breasts. He explained that the virus in Hattie's body will activate within 42 hours. At that time, the virus will spread through the air. He created Snowflake to save the world with science. He developed it to give the globe a medicine to treat Cyprus. But the terrorist organization recreated it into an apocalypse. If you want to disable the virus in Hattie, there are only two ways. One is cremation to dust. The second is to remove the virus using a special output device. This device is located in the research room of the terrorists. But the people are international wanted criminals. Shaw had to help the crowd make fake papers and clothes to pass through the security door. The two Soda brothers are confirmed. They should go through the airport security door. But when Hobbs was tried to play, it caused him to be kept at the airport security gate. Fortunately, with a hot appearance, he was released. It was harmful to Heaven, but the harmful people were Shaw. But one thing they did not expect was that the doctor was caught by Brixton that night. The flight takes 3 people to meet his old love. As soon as he arrived, the two men were bald to eat dogs. So the two siblings stood outside and gaped all their mouths. A beautiful person provides 3 of the most modern equipment to break into the terrorist organization. Prepare fully and sing. Deliberately Brixton caught. When Hobbs and Shaw got to the place, they installed the bomb to destroy this place within 45 minutes. And that is also the time for them to act. Here it is divided into 2 doors. Shaw made the first selection but did not expect it to be too crowded inside. He wanted to change the door again with Hobbs, but Hobbs refused. Even if there is no difficulty inside, it will make it difficult for Shaw. But they must not kill them, because they need to lock their trash to open the base. So Shaw only used 50% of his effort. The part of Hobbs is too gentle. He defeated one name, and used that name to open the base door. Shaw, after lowering the opponent, knocked them out one by one. Take their heads to the chamber sweeping board. But what he received was just the voice of a robot who refused access. While Shaw was very serious, Hobbs teased to enlist body training. When a pile of opponents was down, Shaw successfully opened the door to break in. No doubt on the other side is an army pointing at them. Both stop for about 2 seconds. They are pounded into 2 heads of hair. 2 young men had to have a dazzling hand. While everyone chose the heart and gaze on the pair of heads, Hattie on this side woke up and subdued the guards. Then she took off, dazzling, handling the guards more gently. The doctor was surprised to turn on his back. Hattie immediately applied the device and said that she would make the virus. The fake doctor excitedly guided the sister. And Shaw and Hobbs, despite being chained by the neck, still do not forget each other. Perhaps it was already a habit deeply ingrained in the blood of the two. Brixton saw them talking so much, so he flipped the switch for an electric shock to smooth the two brothers out. While preparing to fly out, they heard familiar screams. She silently broke in behind the people. Hobbs acted immediately. The sister unexpectedly threatened Brixton, but this gun requires an activation code to shoot. What is difficult due to the monk? He took the fire and dried straight into Brixton. He did not avoid it and chose to blow away. The chaos and baldness were dazzling for themselves. The two young men began to fight extremely harshly. After the arguments, the two brothers understood each other more and coordinated extremely well. Shaw is a delicious car driver, so he enlisted as a carrier, carrying Hobbs to tease the headquarters. They picked up the sister in the car and the whole crowd. On the way, he jumped out of the car to get the car that the sister hid the dead device. The professor was so passionate about playing with fire. He had to destroy the invention of this wrong person. Unfortunately, Brixton sneaked into his neck. The car goes out first, and he was still trapped behind. At this moment, the bomb they had planted started to explode. Sniffing the smell of burning, he increased the number of continuous numbers, punctured the wall, and ran to escape. His car was bald at this time. The fire was close to his butt, and before his eyes was a dead end. He threw his head in front and climbed up the stairs. Then, to avoid a fighter, he rushed into a factory to run. Outside, the fighter flushed bullets through the glass layer on my brother. Forcing his heart to bald his life, he risked his life to launch the car out of the building. Fortunately, there was a roof that landed. He shot down the UAV in front of him. The turning force caused Hattie to fall out of the car. Fortunately, Shaw kept his sister in time. But there is no way to get into the car. On this side, Hobbs can also go out. The shelves are armored vehicles, so the smaller one scanning the outside. After that, he followed the car. At this time, Shaw's car was very bad, so they had to move his sister to Hobbs' car. Hobbs helped to pull his sister into the car and drove two things. Only the guilty he could not catch Hattie, but fell to the bottom of society. He was bald at this time, but the broken car cannot do anything. He chose a slope and then gently put the throttle straight into the car. At this time, Brixton drove before he was bald. Seeing the enemy not invited to come, Hobbs gathered brothers with little hair from behind the car. Then all three rushed into a few arts. But this time the factory broke out. This place will be in the smoke. His father poked the back of the car still hard to practice sports. Practice limbs. You guys switch to gymnastics. This tool is the spare parts behind the truck. At this time, the chimney of the giant super huge nuclear factory fell. It crushed the truck's tail and buried Brixton. In some miraculous way, Hobbs and Shaw were still safe. Unfortunately, the virus extraction device was seriously damaged, and Hobbs knows a person who can fix all kinds of machines. Hobbs brought the trio to his childhood house in Samoa. Come to eat and eat at his brother's house, Jonas, a talented mechanic. He knows how to fix everything, especially damaged furnaces. Without talking about the sentences, Hobbs was kicked out of the house. Jonas thought that Hobbs was the disgrace of the family. Suddenly, from where, a sandal hit the face of Jonas, who tried to try. It was their mother. She allowed Hobbs to enter the house. Looking at her little son, she was extremely worried. But Hobbs has no time to eat and drink. He asked Jonas to repair the virus production equipment. If not, the whole world will fall into extinction disaster. But Jonas sees her brother as a crazy man who said incense. When the two of them cursed at the saliva, their mother beat the table and asked them to stop immediately. In the end, she helped Hobbs convince Jonas, and they embarked on work. Jonas started repairing the virus extract equipment. He carefully captured every small detail. But the honest business people began to prepare to welcome the terrorist visit. They set many types of traps around the island. I'm afraid they have a life to go, not a network to return. Fortunately, the Rain Girls successfully penetrated their weapons system. It can cause their weapons to be disabled for 6 minutes. The urgent time forced them to extract the virus as soon as possible. Unexpectedly, the machine has restored normal operation, but the time of injection must cost 30 minutes, so they need to take advantage of preparing to welcome the enemy at any time. This side, Brixton also upgraded his body strength to the maximum. When Brixton
Brixton leads the terrorists to the place. Hobbs, in the form of undressing his 8-pack, opened a fuzzy battle to fight. The Hobbs family is not inferior. Instead of playing guns, it is normal. The brothers incarnate as the primitive tribe. They shout the slogan of the ancestor. Brixton thought they were primitive. He commanded the juniors of the commune to use all ammunition, but the guns were not working. It turned out that their weapons were disabled. After that, Hobbs swung down to the ground to explode a car. He drove the surrounding lawn to form a battle circle. The muscular men started the river. These people are extremely aggressive. They tortured these assassins from night until it was bright. The soldiers from a young age until now have made this tribe so strong. The teacher did not beat Brixton. A river bombing straight into Hobbs' warehouse created an earthquake. Fortunately, he and his sister avoided it in time, so they are not hurt even one armpit hair. After a while, Hattie is extracting the virus. Brixton caught her. He scooped her onto the plane. Hobbs and Shaw followed. Hobbs threw iron chains into the plane's wings, then dragged it to save his sister. Hobbs tried to pull it down by hand.
If he had not done anything, the car was trapped in the sky. Hobbs' brother appeared in time, connecting his car to Hobbs' car to create more weight and traction. It seemed that with only 2 cars, Brixton pocketed both. Later, again, more cars appeared from the corner. Brixton was extremely folded and tried to fly away. Brixton conditions for the vehicle to the edge of the abyss, dragging the convoy of the Hobbs brothers. At thousands of pounds hanging hair, the people triggered the jet nitro gas acceleration. These 4 that played all 4 of the aircraft. Very quickly overloaded, the helicopter began to smoke. They continue to drive into the planned area. The car's car is separated. For example, the familiar SUV of Brixton in the battle. The oil barrels had exploded before. The cars behind exploded on the face, causing fainting to steal the sword. Seeing about all the iron chain, Hobbs with no helicopter with hands. This captain saw that there were tears. Brixton could no longer control the helicopter, dragging Hobbs and Shaw to the abyss and helicopters. The main character is different. People often fall to be out of Earth for 8 generations. This side Hattie was seriously injured. While the device extracted 4 minutes to complete, he ordered his juniors to keep his sister. Hobbs and Shaw swam up from a stream. The battle between the muscular and robot Brixton also came to an end. Just launched, Hobbs' attack was 8 for the beginning. All the attacks of the 2 were seen through. In a short time, Hobbs and Shaw have been fertilized. No problem, 2 hitting 1 without being hexagrams. This time, both brothers rushed to the council together. He could only analyze his attack in front of him. Unexpectedly, Brixton ate a shot in the back of the neck. Seeing the weakness of the robot, one supported only one goal. So both of them have cooperated with each other. A statue has a general. Brixton was revealed to be weak, so they were not his rivals. But his program only upgrades there. Waiting for an update is probably the next life. The more Shaw and Hobbs fought. The person who brought the thick face to bear the attack, and the other used the head. Can't do anything more. Brixton had to hold the battle. At this time, his apparatus was also seriously faulty. No more way to fight. This side Hattie also completes the extraction of the virus. By the way, the soldier is still young and green as a banana leaf. He asks, holding the gun pointed at Brixton's face, starting to ask if he still wanted to deny anything. Suddenly, Brixton was suddenly cut off. It turned out that his organization excluded the loser. In the end, the bad guy received an interrupted ending. Knowing that behind the terrorist organization is still active, they want to win 3 people about their team. But the 2 brothers said distorted. This organization promises to still chase them to be henchmen for themselves. At the end, at Hobbs' original tribe, Hobbs was extremely happy together. This movie is now ended. If you find it interesting, please leave your opinion in the comment section below for me to know. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Goodbye and see you again in the next videos.